My talk to you today is about converting failure into fuel to fly. Converting failure into fuel to fly into success. Converting failure into fuel to flourish. Converting failures that have happened in your life into fuel to finish whatever you started working on. The question is not, will failure come? The question should be, how will I react when failure does come? Because failure shows up in different ways, in different forms. But you should ask, how will I transcend to fly beyond the failure? So I encourage you to have a mindset to convert failure into fossil fuel to propel you. I want you to take the carcass of failure and convert that into fossil fuel for your success. And there are 10 ways I will share with you today about how to achieve that. Number 1, when failure comes, you got to have the kryptonite, and that is motivation and inspiration. Motivation, as the great Zig Ziglar said, is like bathing. You don't say, I had one yesterday, so I won't have one today. No, you motivate yourself consistently. You motivate yourself before the failure. You motivate yourself in the failure. You motivate yourself outside of the failure before the next round comes. Failure is nothing more than fossil fuel for your success, depending on if you are motivated to see it as such. So I want to encourage you to daily motivate yourself, to understand that we are different from the animals in that we can inspire and motivate ourselves by tuning into the right frequencies, by tuning into the right motivational sources. Surround yourself with positive imagery, positive words. That's step 1. Without a healthy dose of motivation, when failure comes, you will succumb. But if you are motivated consistently, you will find it a lot easier to convert failure into fuel. One of my heroes in business, the great Steve Jobs. Everyone knows Apple as it is today. It started off with 2 guys in a garage, Wozniak and Jobs, and we all know it as a multi-billion-dollar business. But did you know that Steve encountered failure in the very company he began? He was fired. And if you read the story, John Scully was CEO at the time, but Steve had become a little bit too toxic and over the top for people, and he was dismissed from Apple. And the dismissal made him realize that his passion for his work exceeded the disappointment of failure. Immediately after, he created a new venture known as Next. Eventually, he acquired Pixar, which is now part of the Disney brand. Eventually, Jobs got back to Apple, and it was home run after home run, all the way up to the iPod and the iPhone and the iPad. It started with failure, being kicked out of his company, and coming back with a vengeance. Many of his fans call it the second coming of Steve. And when he came back, he had converted his failure into fuel. Steve said, I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. You got to create that fuel from your failure. Number 2, train your brain. Now, without getting too deep into the sciencey parts of it, without getting deep into the trenches of brain activity, it is safe to say your subconscious mind is most active right when you wake up. And you can train your brain to use this subconscious activity that you can experience and dial into for the first 20 minutes of your waking hours to think positively and accomplish a lot more throughout your day. Whether you are a person of faith or not, dial into a positive message. Dial into positive thinking. It's absolutely free. Believe that it will improve you, and it will. Get into the habit of being self-nurturing. What are you feeding yourself with when you wake up? Beyond the physical body, more importantly, it's what goes into the mind, because that will sustain you. All through the day, I encourage you to surround yourself with positive messages and positive thinking. Point number 3, self-belief. Develop a sense of self-belief. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that you are the very best version of yourself right now? And if not, what are you doing to improve that? What are you doing to take that up a notch? I say jail your fails. Jail your feelings associated with your fails by self-belief. To jail your fails, to jail those feelings about your fails, you need to develop a sense of self-belief and consistently sustain that self-belief. There will be people around you who tell you you're doing great, you're doing well. Dial into such understanding of yourself, not to feel complacent, but to build yourself up in self-belief talk. Another case in point of someone who converted failure into fuel is the great Albert Einstein. And the word Einstein is often linked with the word genius. But did you know that Einstein could not speak fluently until the age of 9? His rebellious nature led to expulsion from school, and he was refused admittance to Zurich Polytechnic School. His earliest setbacks, however, did not stop him from winning the Nobel Peace Prize in physics in 1921. After all, he believed failure is fuel to fly. He believed that success is failure in progress. And to this very day, Einstein's research has influenced various aspects of life: culture, religion, art, even late-night TV. So just because you have not achieved what you may consider anything great, it does not mean that you cannot be a genius like Einstein. Number 4, consistent health plan. In order to deal with failure when it comes, you're going to have to be in a great state of health. And one of the ways you can get into a great state of health is by intentionality, in seeking to consistently improve your health standard. And you do that by developing a consistent, intentional, valuable health plan. You know what you're doing when you have a health plan? You are showing intentionality about those who are around you and your care for them. You are being intentional about caring for your loved ones and taking care of yourself. The key thing is doing this with an intent to roll through the turbulence, to come out on the other end and being able to live with passion. If you're doing awesome in terms of health, you'll find it a lot easier to convert failure into fuel. Number 5, surround yourself with lifters. What do I mean by this? There are 2 people in life, only 2 people. There are those who lift you and help you fly, and there are those who take you down to the basement of depression, of self-doubt, and unbelief. So my question to you is, which one are you? You are either a lifter or a leaner. You're either in the way of success or on the way to success. Which one are you? Your countenance says a lot. Smile and be happy. Be grateful for life. There's so much to be thankful for. I often tell my friends, I'm grateful that I'm 6 feet above ground. If there's nothing else that you find to be thankful for, be thankful for that one thing. Now, speaking of those you're surrounded by, just take a look at people's faces in the mall, at the post office, on the way to work, on the road, and you're going to find faces that absolutely elevate and give you energy. And you're going to find those who you may want to avoid because they put you in a depressed state. We want to be the former, those who elevate, have a ready smile, have a look of determination and encouragement. Number 6, self-talk. You watch what you say to yourself, because if you say to yourself, you're an idiot, you're a dummy, you know nothing, trust me, it will come to pass. So instead, ask yourself, what do I want out of life? Ask yourself, what do I really want? And be specific about what you want. Instead of dwelling on your current state, focus on your future state. Focus on how you can convert this current failure into fuel to fly so you can flourish. Number 7, picture the future. In other words, meditate on the future, an outcome of you converting your failure into fuel for you to fly. There was once a student I had who experienced failure on a professional exam that I trained 6 times. And this student kept going and going and failed it again for a 7th time. Now, a lot of these failures were before I encountered this student, but once this student failed once on my watch, I gave this student some advice about what to do. And I built this student up in my words of affirmation and encouragement. I still remember today driving to a doctor's appointment and getting news of this student's failure. But instead of taking this student down, I built this student up. On the 8th try number 8, this student finally killed the exam and succeeded. And you want to know what? Today, this individual has very little recollection of those other 7. All that this student remembers is, I am now certified as an expert. And I want to encourage you, my friends, don't allow failure to make you flounder and flail. Instead, make failure fuel for your flying. Convert the carcass of failure, because you got to make it a carcass. A lot of people allowing their failure to flourish. No. You want to kill that failure in your mind. You tell failure you are dead. You become fuel for my flourishing. You become fuel for me to fly. And this is where picturing the future comes in, because you gotta let your imagination run wild into the land of flourishing. You gotta allow your mind see hope and creativity. You gotta latch on to a belief of the future, even in the middle of failure. So how do you do it? You tell yourself, I'm a miracle maker. It's a coaching belief that I have as a coach. I see you as a miracle maker. I see you as a champion. I see you as one who has a high tolerance for ambiguity, one who has a high tolerance for pain. So I don't care whatever failure you've been through. You got to make that fail gain. Even in the middle of temporary pain, you got to tell yourself, I'm rolling with the punches. I'm going for the kill. You don't kill me, I kill you, failure. And I convert you to fuel for my flourishing, for me to fly and transcend above you. I want you to picture the future. I want you to write down specifics. Build yourself up day in, day out, and tell yourself, I'm a success. There's going to be ebbs, there's going to be flows, there's going to be impediments, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be blockers, there's going to be slumps, and of course, failure. But you got to do this next thing in the middle of any failure. Number 8, be relentless. You got to be like a crazed bear, bounding after the kill, bounding after the opportunity, bounding after what you had your target on, my friends. You got to get into action. Don't wait for an ideal situation. If you believe it, you can see it. And if you can see it, you can relentlessly pursue it. You got to be unreasonable to do what Paul said in the good book, which was, call the things that are not as though they are. You got to be unreasonable, even in the middle of failure, to say, I don't care. I will achieve, and I am on my way to achieving my goal, my definite chief aim, whatever that may be. Number 9, in the middle of failure, I have realized that giving back is a balm. Whatever giving back is in your world, giving a word of encouragement to someone else, helping someone else learn from the failure you've been through, my friend, helping someone envisage their future or make their own way. Or maybe it's giving someone a meal. Maybe it's giving someone a helping hand. Maybe it's giving someone of your time. Give something back. Give your time. Give your talent. Give back in some way to the universe. And I tell you, my friends, the energy that you create, the consciousness that you embody will be evident, and it will flow back to you, even in the middle of failure. When there's failure, it's time to get up and be valuable to someone. To be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow that others won't have. Convert your failure into fuel. Another famous individual who we know that has experienced failure multiple times is the great Michael Jordan. Arguably one of the best, if not the best, in the game of basketball. But Jordan says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. You got to convert the failure, my friends, into fuel for your success. And that takes us to point number 10. Create fuel from failure. You got to make it okay to fail. You got to make failure fuel. In order to get the fuel, there is failure. You convert it by killing it. To kill failure, you got to kill those feelings that tell you you are no good. Those feelings that tell you you've been a disappointment. No. Failure is on the road to success. You don't have to be great to get started, but you must get started to be great. My friends, I want to leave you with a final thought. Walt Disney dropped out of high school at a young age in a failed attempt at joining the army. One of his earlier ventures, Laugh-O-Gram Studios, went bankrupt due to his lack of ability to run a successful business. He was once fired from a Missouri newspaper for not being creative enough. Yet, today, the genius behind Disney Studios is responsible for generations of childhood memories and dreams from Snow White to Frozen. Disney will continue to entertain for generations to come. And I could go on and on, my friends, sharing with you stories of so-called failures who were only pioneers, greats, legends, successful individuals. But one thing they did that you need to do is convert failure into fuel for your success.